Hey, what's up, folks? It is Ty, and I'm what you might call diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So I spend an unfortunate amount of time fixating on the idea that I've done something terrible, that I've said something rude, or I've hurt someone's feelings. But I also don't shy away from confrontation. I'm pretty outspoken. I'm not the type to just smile and nod for the sake of agreeability. I'm quick to call someone out if they're being shitty. So being an outspoken but also anxious person, when there's conflict, I need a third-party opinion to help me determine whether or not I'm the asshole. And clearly, I'm not the only one, because r/AmITheA-hole is a subreddit where people share their stories and let the comments decide who in that situation is the asshole. This is one of my favorite subreddits. Some of the juiciest classic Reddit posts hail from here. Christy and I love to read through these together and judge people, so now I'll be doing that with you. And there are a ton of trans-specific posts, which we know should be interesting. So today we're going to be looking for the best ones to read through and cast our judgment. Am I the asshole for walking out of my daughter's birthday party because the cake had her dead name on it? Sounds like you're not the asshole, which is the consensus as voted by the comments, but let's read through it. I, 46 male, am a single dad to my daughter Alexis, 17. Alexis is transgender and came out 2 years ago. It's been a pretty big adjustment, especially for the older folks, particularly my grandmother, who is in her 90s and has mild dementia. Recently, my daughter had her 17th birthday. She already had a fun day out with friends planned, but my sister, who lives with my grandma and is her main carer, suggested we have a family birthday party at grandma's house as well, and Alexis thought it was a great idea. By all accounts, the party went great, until it was time for cake. Now, baking has always been my grandma's passion, and even in her old age, she still bakes and decorates cakes all on her own. She usually makes them for family gatherings and takes a lot of pride in her work. My sister brought out the cake and the frosting read, "Happy Birthday, Dead Name." Bro, that would be the icing on the cake, am I right? It would be just the worst. What an awful surprise to have on what's supposed to be a wonderful day. As soon as she saw the cake, Alexis started crying. Yeah, makes sense. And I quickly gathered our things and we left in a hurry. See, that's nice. That's a nice, supportive father. That's cool. We had boxed cake and ice cream while we watched her favorite movie, and I eventually got her feeling better. Ally behavior. While that was happening, my phone blew up with texts from my sister, but I put her on mute while I comforted Alexis. After Alexis went to her room and started gaming, I looked over the text from my sister. She's a gamer. They started fairly normal. Is she okay? Will you guys be coming back? Etc. And then devolved into accusing my daughter of being ungrateful and unstable. Bro, you put the wrong name on her cake. Like, that's not ungrateful, and crying over that is not unstable. Like, you did a mean thing. You were mean to a child. She said that Alexis should have put on a smile because grandma worked so hard on the cake, and it isn't my grandma's fault, she's old, etc. I texted her back and said that Alexis didn't want to spend any more time with my family today, and that was a horrible thing to say about her. My sister simply responded with K. Most of my relatives are on my side, but I've been getting the silent treatment from my sister and grandma. Am I the asshole? No, definitely not. You know, I'm a little suspicious of the aunt in this situation, right? Like, she's the one that brought out the cake. Yes, grandma baked the cake, but grandma also has dementia. You know, the aunt is the carer. She should be proofreading this shit. She obviously saw it before it was brought out and knew that it wasn't right. I feel like the aunt had plenty of opportunity if this was a simple, this is, like I said, assuming this was a mistake on the grandmother's part, which it could have been malicious on the aunt's part, could have been malicious on the grandmother's part, but it very well could have been a mistake. And if it was, the aunt definitely had an opportunity to step in there and fix it and didn't. Why? I don't know, but it's a little sus. Dad is definitely not the asshole. Comments say, not the asshole. Your sister wants you to believe that this was wholly the doing of a 9-year-old with dementia. That's what I'm fucking saying. As a caretaker of a 9-year-old with dementia, she felt solo baking was cool. Well, happy birthday to you too, OP, because clearly your sister thinks you were born yesterday. Right. We got a lot of comments here in agreement. The math ain't mathin'. with the sister. Not the asshole. Your sister may be right. It might not be grandma's fault if she didn't do it maliciously. If she has dementia, your daughter's transition is likely to be something she needs to be reminded of, especially if the transition was announced to grandma after the dementia set in. Her caretaker should have been supervising her while she was baking and at the same time gently reminding her of the name change. It's so easy to do so. Exactly. Well, there you have it. Not the asshole, but the sister / the aunt, perhaps knowingly, purposefully ruined a kid's birthday and then blamed her for it. I think that's pretty demented. Would I be the asshole if I didn't include my daughter in my family's Christmas celebrations and had a separate one with her? It's not looking good. My daughter and I have had our fair share of difficulties. We get along better now, but since I don't see her as often as I'd like to, the times we do see each other is important. She usually celebrates Christmas with my family since her mom is an agnostic Jew. That didn't feel like the right way to word that. I'll just say that. My daughter was previously my son and came out as transgender to me 2 years ago. I honestly blame the last Christmas she spent with my family for her telling her mother so long before me. I think she has been uncomfortable with my family and missed the past few years because my family reacted badly about her coming out as being attracted to men. She doesn't want to be called gay now, as in she sees herself as a straight girl. Yes. It was my mistake for telling them at all, but I didn't know how to cope with it at the time. They were saying some things to her which weren't right, especially since she was really just a kid, and she reacted by crying and literally running out, which just escalated everything. At first, I was excited to have her agree to Christmas with my family again, but now I'm realizing what happened is going to be that much worse. I don't want to see my daughter crying again, and I want to improve our relationship. Okay, so the last Christmas she celebrated with them, she came out as liking guys. This was before transition. And it did not go well and hasn't been back to a Christmas since, but now she's transitioned and she says she will go back and have another Christmas with this homophobic family. She's braver than I am, but let's keep going. My solution seems to be causing more issues. I was thinking I could celebrate Christmas with my family without her and then do a separate Christmas celebration with her. I even told her she could bring her boyfriend, something she would not be able to do if she went to my family's Christmas. Why not? Because they're homophobic, and likely they're going to be transphobic. But, okay, I'll wait. We're going to get through this. The issue is, the only other days around that time that I'm free, I'm doing Christmas with my fiance's family. Why can't she go with you to that? And then me and the guys, been friends since high school, have this tradition that I can't skip. Why can't you move that to spend Christmas with your literal fucking daughter? You got to go out for your boys' night with the high school buddies? Bro, what? This one, oof. Okay. All right. My fiance is also struggling to be accepting, so I can't bring my daughter to her family's Christmas either. My daughter was upset because I had talked about how great our Christmas was going to be. Since we hadn't seen each other in a while, I said that we're still going to have a great Christmas, and honestly a better one without my family. She says she just doesn't care about not being able to celebrate with my family. She says that she wanted to celebrate with me, and I told her she still will. She started saying that she's always the lowest priority in my life and that she doesn't want to try to have a relationship with me anymore. For any other dads out there, I'm pretty sure you can understand why I'm writing here. That shit hurt, but there's nothing else I can really do. So would I be the asshole? I thought she was just being sensitive, but typically when your kid is being sensitive, it's still important. I know that from experience. She's not just being sensitive. This is something you should be taking very seriously. I mean, the holidays, Christmas, your child is completely isolated from everyone else in your family because they're transphobic. Have you taken up for her? I mean, she even agreed to go to Christmas with the homophobic family, which, I mean, that's her choice. Like, let her go and have that experience if she wants to have Christmas that bad. Like, let her do that. Or fucking skip one of your other events. Like, both sides, your fiance. I mean, everyone is doesn't want her around. Like, it sucks so bad for her. And this dude is just like, yeah, but I gotta meet up with my high school buddies. We all go and fucking piss off the bridge on Christmas and we hit golf balls in the junkyard and I can't miss that. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Definitely the asshole. Like, just because you aren't the one directly being transphobic to your kid, if everybody else in your family is being transphobic to your kid and you're allowing it and then excluding her from things because other people, are going to treat her poorly, instead of, making that their problem, you make it her problem, then you're not really being that supportive. That sucks. That sucks for the kid. Comments have agreed he is the asshole, but your daughter has told you that she's the lowest priority in your life because you've shown her that. That shit hurts. That's because it's true and you know it. You're the asshole. Ask your daughter what she needs from you and do it if you want this to be right. You are her father. Act like it. Absolutely. I just feel like if I can't bring my kid to Christmas because everyone's going to treat my kid like shit, I'm not fucking going. Like, that should be the standard. You're the asshole. Electric chair. Okay, I take back the electric chair, but you do have to get shocked by one of those little prank gums every time you want a piece of gum, and each time you forget that it's going to happen, so you're surprised by it and scared. That's my ruling. Leave yours in the comments below. Am I the asshole for primarily using the name of a recent transitioned coworker rather than gender-specific pronouns in meetings and conversation? A coworker, Bob, of mine, has recently transitioned from female to male. Nice. After coming back from an extended absence, he informed a number of people of the transition. After being informed of the transition, I thanked Bob for telling me, acknowledged his courage to transition given the conservative nature of our industry, and apologized in advance if I accidentally used the wrong pronouns in future conversations. You're doing good so far. Well, turns out it was a lot harder than I thought it would be for me to consistently use the correct pronouns. During the first 2 weeks, I screwed it up at least twice a day. The mistakes occurred during internal phone calls or in person during short, low-effort conversations, i.e., boss, did Bob send you the testing data? Me. Yes, she did. While Bob was understanding of mistakes, I did not want to test his patience. I thought maybe I should stop using pronouns and just use his actual name. For some reason, this proved to be a lot easier for me to not screw up. I think I had an easier time because Bob goes by a unisex name, so it did not change. Okay, see, that's helpful. He didn't change his name, so that didn't change, but the pronouns changed, so you struggled with them. Yeah, I mean, that's totally reasonable, and it's only been a couple weeks. You're trying. It's all above board to me so far. Plus, it had the added benefit of giving me the confidence that I would not accidentally out Bob and his transition to clients, as I'm unsure of who was aware and not aware. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. About a week later, another colleague, Janet, that I do not regularly interact with, asked me how I thought most people were taking the news. I told Janet that the folks in my group seem to be taking the news in stride and have not heard any negative reactions or comments. I added that I was having some trouble with consistently using the correct pronouns and switched to using Bob's name instead because I thought it was better than misgendering him. Janet said that was disrespectful to Bob because I was not recognizing the struggle Bob underwent with his transition by refusing to use gender-specific pronouns. I mean, I get where she's coming from, but it's not like he's refusing. He just doesn't want to out him in front of the clients. I responded that I don't really comprehend how it is disrespectful to call or refer to people by their preferred name, but I would speak to Bob to clarify. Unfortunately, Bob is out of the office for the next week for a project, and I won't have a chance to speak with him in person about it, so Reddit, for now, your judgment will have to suffice. Am I the asshole? No. I think Janet was well-meaning, and I think that in some cases what she is saying is correct, but it's about the intention and how you do it. There are people who will intentionally go out of their way to avoid using pronouns when talking with a trans person. That way they can get away with not calling them their pronouns without directly calling them the wrong pronouns. It's the same thing as like knowing a trans person uses he, him, or she, her, by calling them they, them, because they don't want to use the correct ones. So that does happen. Like, Janet's not wrong about that, but in this situation, OP is using the name specifically to avoid messing up and using the wrong pronouns, with the intention of eventually working pronouns back into the conversation. And the way that he's talking about the situation here, he obviously cares, he obviously has good intentions, and he's not doing it in a way that is drawing attention to the verbiage being weird. Yeah, I think this guy's definitely not the asshole. I mean, he even said that Bob was understanding when he misgendered him, which to me says that Bob, like most trans people, can tell if you are just making an honest mistake but you have good intentions, or if you are intentionally being malicious and being shitty without directly saying, I don't believe that your gender is real or whatever the fuck. Like, it is a bit tricky because what he's doing here could be used in an asshole-ish way, but he clearly is not doing it like that. And so for that, I say, not the asshole. You're doing your best. You plan on talking to the guy himself about it and seeing what he thinks, which is always the best course of action. And at the end of the day, I think trans people all prefer their names over the wrong pronouns. So, not the asshole. Am I the asshole for outing my trans cousin? Community said that this one is not the asshole. So that's interesting to me. Last week, me, 22 male, was talking to a friend, 22 male, who had recently been dumped by his girlfriend who ended up dating my cousin, 24 male, and I was laughing at what happened. During the conversation, I told my friend that this was my cousin's first time dating a girl since he transitioned about 4 years ago. He acted weird and had a confused look on his face. He was very surprised as he did not know that my cousin was trans. Zoinks. I thought this was weird as he had worked with my cousin for 2 years at a restaurant and he had always told me how close they were. For context, my cousin had documented his entire transition, FTM, on his Instagram where he posted many updates on testosterone. He had even posted a picture of his chest post-top surgery. I thought that my friend had seen these posts, since they are both pretty active on social media, and did not know that he didn't. FYI, his Instagram was public, so anyone could look up my cousin's name and find it. I don't know. A few days later, I got a call from my cousin yelling at me for outing him. Without me knowing, my friend had told a lot of other people that my cousin was trans, and some of his homophobic friends were harassing my cousin. Sheesh. I tried to tell my cousin that I thought everyone knew. Since he posted the whole transition, he told me that he deleted that Instagram a couple months ago, so we got in an argument over how the internet is forever and how he never reached out telling me that he wanted me to keep his transition a secret. Now, my aunt and other family are mad at me and my cousin and I are not on speaking terms. And to make it worse, he is boycotting our grandmother's funeral since he's so mad at me. He's out there with a sign like, my cousin sucks. Don't go to the funeral. You know, I just can't get over what a strong word, boycotting my grandmother's funeral like that. He's boycotting my grandmother's funeral. I'm picturing it like the Bud Light boycotts where everyone had like their Bud Light and they're like throwing it in the trash, but he's like going around the funeral and like taking like the picture off the easel and snapping it over his knee and throwing it in the trash, which is awful. Which would be a terrible thing to do, and I hope he's not doing any of that. Anyways, this is a tough one because obviously you outed your cousin and now he's being harassed by people. Like, that is the consequence of your action. But if he had publicly documented his transition and both like your friend and your cousin were friends for years and both active on social media, like, I can see why you would assume they would be interacting and that would just be something that the other dude knew. But when your cousin got upset, you shouldn't have blamed him and said the internet is forever. The guy didn't find out from the internet, he found out from you. So like, that wasn't the problem. And it's also not your cousin's job to reach out to you specifically and ask you not to out him to anyone. I feel like you made a mistake, you fucked up, you didn't mean to, and that's okay, but you reacted defensively and blamed your cousin instead of owning what you did and apologizing. And now you're not on speaking terms and your grandmother's funeral is being boycotted. I think I would say nobody's the asshole here, except for the homophobes and the people harassing your cousin. Like, I feel like I equally see where both sides are coming from, and it's just an unfortunate situation. But ultimately, I feel like it is on the guy who outed the trans guy to make amends and apologize and make things better, because now he's being harassed. But maybe I'm biased. This is a bit of a tough one. Let me know in the comments below, what's your verdict? This is going to have to be the last one, because I'm like, my eyes are getting to the point where I can't read, and I'm going to keep thinking about the boycotts. When will the boycotts end? These boycotts have gotten out of hand. Okay, that's the last time I'm going to talk about it. Am I the asshole for uninviting my transgender sister to my wedding? There's a lot of potential for some assholery here, I'll tell you that. Some background. I have a trans sister, came out to us around a year ago, but had been on hormones for longer and hid it from us until she had moved out into her own place, probably because our parents are very conservative and known to be transphobic. What an awful thing to be known for. Embarrassing. As a result, there was this huge fight and a ton of people in our family, including our parents, cut her off and don't talk to her anymore. Your family sucks. I like to think I've been pretty supportive of her so far, using her pronouns and her name and all that, which has been hard considering our fam gives me shit for doing so. That's nice of you to take up for her when she's not around, even against your transphobic family. That is very chill. I even make it a point to visit her every so often, while she hasn't seen most of our family since last year. I also promised her that if and when I got married in the future, she'd still be invited despite any tension with our family. Okay, well, I'm going to take note of that. Me and my fiance got engaged a while back. My parents, especially my dad, absolutely adore this guy, and since my sister came out, they've almost seen him as the substitute son. That sucks. Almost as a result, he's definitely more on their side of the situation, and he's made it clear that he doesn't really agree with or like my sister all that much. I hate when people say, well, I just don't agree with that. As if a trans person's identity is something that everyone needs to mutually agree upon and not just a part of them that deserves respect. Your fiance sucks and your family sucks. After the proposal, which was very elaborate and surprising and orchestrated by my parents, quite involved. My parents, who are wedding planners, started talking with me about planning the big day and even offered to pay for everything. Very, very involved. I mentioned wanting to invite my sister and they shut the idea down immediately. Why the fuck do they think they get to decide who you invite? It's your own sister. That hasn't... I hate them. Talking about how she disrespected the family and cut them off and all that. Sounds like they all cut her off and disrespected her. Riddle me that. They basically gave me an ultimatum. Have my wedding planned and paid for by them, or have my sister there and they don't come at all. What awful, terrible, disgusting parents. That is so sad. I took my parents' offer. Damn it! No, we were rooting for you! You were the chosen one.
You were the chosen one! I hate you!
Because I can't really afford to pay for an entire wedding, and because my fiance, who fucking sucks, pressured me to accept it. I broke the news to my sister, and she's very understandably upset. But I'm still inviting her to a smaller after party over Zoom. That's not a party, that's a fucking meeting. So we can still be together on the big day. I still feel really guilty about this though. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Yes, there is an edit. I don't think I made it clear enough how overbearing my parents are. It was pretty clear. Just saying no to them wasn't really an option for me, and if I declined their offer, they simply wouldn't have come to whatever smaller wedding I managed to plan, which would have been even worse. I mean, I guess so. If it's that easy for you to quantify, like, your love for your different family members, and you're like, yeah, I'd rather have my parents there than my sister, because it'd be worse to not have my parents there, which I guess is understandable, but like, your parents sound fucking awful. So, I don't know. It just sucks because, like, your sister, she just doesn't deserve to have to go through all that shit. Because your parents suck, and now your fiance sucks too. And what a horrible thing. Your parents are going to be so controlling about all of this. Like, I would not even want to take that offer, to decide who I'm allowed and not allowed to invite. And if I do invite someone that they don't just adore, even though I'm very close with them, my own fucking sibling. Are you shitting me, bro? Are you fucking kidding me? You are unfortunately stuck in a situation with a bunch of assholes, and it is affecting you, your sister, who sounds like she hasn't done anything but just be transgender, which has gotten her shunned by the family and treated like shit. And now they're making you treat her like shit. They're mad that you supported her, made fun of you for supporting her. And now they are dictating that she's not allowed to be at your wedding by just controlling you, threatening you. That sucks shit. I would not want them involved. Have a small wedding and have who you actually fucking want there. Don't tell your parents you're inviting the sister. That's what I'd do. But then they'd definitely make a scene because they're obviously extremely selfish and awful. Let's see what the comments say. You're the asshole. Why marry a transphobic guy? Yeah, if it were me, I'd DIY the whole thing. Despite them, assholes like that don't need enabling. Exactly. In 10 years, what are you going to remember more? You had nice centerpieces paid for by your parents, or your sister was banned from the wedding? Boom. Exactly. You know, as someone who has been planning a wedding for myself and my fiance, and by the time you see this, we'll be married. Yay. That shit is so stressful, but it's so fun. And I would not want to just dump it on someone else's hands. And, you know, deciding who's coming and who's not coming has been tricky. I have felt guilty for not inviting certain family members who, let's just say, haven't been great to me. I can't imagine not inviting someone who I do love and who is amazing simply because I'd rather let my parents control everything. And a Zoom call being the consolation, that ain't it. But that's my opinion on the situation. Those are my judgments, which I have cast. Please cast yours in the comments below. Let me know. What do you think? Who is the asshole? And don't say me. But that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.